for my live here on Monday at 7 p.m. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that everything goes well tonight after having a couple of disastrous weeks, I must admit. So I'm Karen Hadler here from New Zealand, Independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Love coming to you each week with some tips and ideas and showing you different sets and things from the catalogue. And tonight I've got a special one that is really an iconic stamp for New Zealand, I would say. So let me pop over to the desk and I am going to share with you some ideas with this gorgeous set called Wild Ferns. This is the stamps and it has some beautiful sentiments in here. Heartfelt condolences, thank you, here's to new beginnings, wishing you well today, tomorrow, and every day that follows. You are greatly appreciated. So love all those. And it has a lovely textured stamp as well. And this beautiful frond. I love fronds in the bush. I just think they're just gorgeous. Real indication of new life, I think. And this beautiful fern. And as you know, the silver fern is worn by our top athletes here in New Zealand, be it rugby or netball or anything like that. Okay, so this is the stamp set once again, and this is the dies. So you can see those there. This has little cutouts for the for your words or for your stamps, whatever you want to use it for. And these are great for putting around sentiments. And of course, in the annual catalogue is this Fern 3D embossing folder. So that comes in really handy as well. Okay, so let's do the first thing. I want to get one of these and I'm just going to put some ink on it and then we will let it dry for a minute before we use it. So I want a nice bright green on this. So this is where this mat is very handy. This glass mat, which of course is one of the deals for signing up during January and February. You get the silicone mat, you get this glass mat and a gorgeous soft cleaning mat to wipe it down. I always find when I try and keep it very still, but when I'm blending I always wobble the desk. Right, I'm just going to add a bit more. I'm not worried how even it looks, I'm just wanting to give it a really good cover. There we go. I'm just going to set that up there for a minute. Right. Okay, so let's look at the next thing we are going to do. We're going to be using the Brayer. The Brayer is new in the mini catalogue. Let me just wipe that. I get it everywhere. There we go. This is the Brayer, and it has, you see these two little bits here. That is for when you're standing it up. When you are inking up in your ink pad or you're covering your, whatever you're covering, your cardstock, embossing folder or whatever, you actually turn it up the other way. You don't want to dig holes in anything that you're using. So that's to stand and that's to use. So we're going to be using the 3D embossing folder. Now I want to get a image of, so as you can see it has valleys. I'll show you a sample in a minute. Valleys and peaks. So for this one, I want the silver fern, I want the fern to be white. So I want to emboss not what the front would be the front. I always call the one with this little Stampin' Up symbol there, the front. And so I am wanting to do it so the fern is white. So just going to get my Brayer and my Whisper White ink and turning it over, just move it around, and I don't need to hold it, do I, with that, which I always forget. Oops, it's got a bit of green on it, that's all right. And you just run over your quite good, you can see it. Your folder like this with the embossing folder, make sure it's all covered, and then you're going to take your piece of card and you just pop it in, run it through the embossing folder as normal, and this is how it comes out. I wanted my ferns to be the white part of it, so that's why I did the reverse side, and so I've got these white ferns. But if you wanted the ferns to be black and you wanted the valleys to be white to really make those ferns pop as black ferns, then you do it on what I would have called the front side. But the best way to do it when you first get your embossing folder and do this technique is actually to put it on both sides when you run the card through, and then you can choose which way around you want before you pop it on. So I'm just going to give that a clean. So I hope everyone is well. We've just had the best weather for, well, it's been a little bit too hot, but I don't want to moan because we complained that we had a long winter, so don't want to complain. I'm just wiping the brayer because I'm just going to show you something else. I don't want to mix the colors. Okay, so this is a beautiful day, isn't it? Absolutely stunning, absolutely amazing. Okay, so this is the background that I have used. So I'm going to get this white piece now, and I'm actually going to use the brayer to add some texture. So I don't want a smooth background. I want to actually move it in different directions so that I've got some different, so I want it to be very interesting, should I say. That one was probably a little bit too thick, but that's all right. So you can see you can make it like this with lots of different shapes. Really like how that turns out. And this is Coastal Cabana. And then I'm going to, oh, I don't know why I'm shutting it really, because I need to use it. The stamp that I really like in there also is this textured stamp. It sort of looks like, if you put it on, it looks a bit like canvas or some sort of linen-y sort of effect, which is lovely. So I'm just going to add some of these as well, just to add even more texture to this. There you go. And just another way with this, I wanted to quickly show you. And I've done this in Granny Apple Green, but I'll just show you with this stamp. To create another background, not for this card, but just also doing stamp and blending. Just use your stamp and always start in the middle. Sort of rotate it a little bit. And I'm going to add some of this. You can just make your own background really quickly, and then once again you just use the blending brush to just create a nice edge around that piece of paper. And I have got a card at the end that I'll show you that I've used with this technique. You see how beautiful that is, just with those images peeping through, and then just doing the edge with this, the same color. Okay, and I just like to leave it white in the middle so that that really pops out then. Right, okay, let's go back to our green piece. And we are going to emboss, clear emboss this. So because I've used the ink, I want to really make sure that's dry. So I'm just going to run the embossing buddy over this to take out any extra moisture that may be there. Then I'm going to get the fern and ink that up. Make sure I've got it good. And then we're going to ink this up. Got some clear embossing powder here, and we're just going to pop that in. Try not to put your fingers on it because they can be a bit greasy as well. There you go. Looks good. Now, because it's a small piece, I'm going to use my tweezers so that I don't get my fingers burnt. And always like to do it underneath. It's always magical watching something change with embossing, but you can't really see it with the clear. So you just got to make sure that it's shiny. You probably can't see, but that shows that it's quite shiny on there. Right, next the magic. I am going to use the black Memento, Tuxedo Black, and going to ink up, and I'm going to just cover it with lots of black. Try not to get my fingers in it too much. And you can see that fern starting to pop out there. Right, next. I am going to get my tissue. So just use an ordinary tissue, and then you just wipe that over like that. Isn't that like magic? I just love how that works. Just really, really magic. And there you have your fern popping out. Isn't that amazing? Okay, let's wipe this up and start putting this together. So we have our card base, and I've got a black card base. Get rid of that because, and then I'm going to use this textured piece that I popped on there. But first I'm going to get my, no, I'm not, this piece is going to go there. And I'm going to pop this on there, but I'm going to just glue that. So as I wrote in my blurb, there's a few little techniques today. Okay, let's flip this over, and I find this quite handy to get rid of that circle light there. That's the only thing about the glass. It's so wonderful to work on, but it's reflects the light, doesn't it? Okay, I've got the black and white gingham ribbon, which I'm just going to run across like so. Oops. Right, pop some dimensionals on that. And I like my dimensionals. It's quite good to add them on top of the ribbon too, just to add for a little bit more security. There we go. Nice one. No, two more. Right. Let's pop that on. I've done this just about 2/16 of an inch away from the edge, so just under the full size of the cardstock, of the card base. Okay, I have also got the frond that I did earlier, the same technique as the fern, which is going to go there. And I've stamped the sentiment as well. So I'm going to pop these 3 evenly along here. So we'll use dimensionals again. Actually, before we do that, silly me. Okay, the other thing that comes in this set is these dies, as I showed you, which are perfect for putting around your squares or your sentiment or whatever you want to use. So I'm going to use these underneath. I was looking at that thinking, oh, I've forgotten something and I couldn't figure out what it was. Right. Hi, Anne. Just finished a class. You forget the different things you can do. Yeah, revisiting is great. And sometimes you think, oh, how come I haven't done that for a while? And I've finally got around to getting those dry cloths, and so I'm going to give your wonderful technique that you sent through to me a go. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so this one, let's have a look. I'm going to do that one there and that one there. Okay, so I don't want it too big. So I'm just going to snip that off there, like so. And do the same with this one. Right. So I'm just using Stamp and Seal Plus to add those on. So oops, I got that upside down. Goodness me. Huh. Luckily that came off. Okay. And just chop that down a bit. There we go. Right, now I'll put the dimensionals on. I'll start with this one in the middle, I think. Get there in the end. All right. I just pop 4 on these. I won't put them in the middle because the ribbon is there. So I have got another card at the end to share with you as well. It's that pain when you put the sticky tape on the back. It seems to get stuck to your fingers, and well, it does for me. Right, so let's pop that in the middle. As best I can. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? Okay. Same here. So that technique with these ferns is called the Joseph's Technicolour Coat technique, and I've done it, I think I did it with my New Year's card with all the colourful fireworks. So you can do it with one colour, or you can do it with multiple colours, which is what I did. You just use your blending brush and you just add multiple colours onto your cardstock. Then you clear emboss whatever images you wanted to put on. Then cover it. Sometimes I've used navy or cherry cobbler, like a really dark red. Doesn't have to be black as long as it's a really dark colour. And then you just wipe it clean with a tissue like I did, and the image that you've clear embossed pops up with the colour that you put onto the cardstock. Just so quick and easy. Okay, there we go, and that's going to have to come up there a little bit. I want to put a bow on there. So as I say, New Zealand, the silver fern, well, I have quite a lot of bush here at home, and we go in there quite a bit, and I always love seeing the silver ferns, and they are green on top and silver underneath, and just beautiful, just love it. And it is a real symbol of our elite athletes here in New Zealand, which I'm sure if you're watching this from overseas, you would have heard of the All Blacks or the Silver Ferns, or you know, our netballers, our hockey players. Lots of elite sport use this on their tracksuits and their symbols. Why is this playing up for me today? There we go. One of those things, isn't it? You try and tie it on camera, it's always harder. Right, let me trim that down. There we go. Lastly, we have our sentiments, embellishments, and that's come off, so it's got that glare there. Okay, got these beautiful embellishments here. They're called the Adhesive Back Sparkle Gems. I've really used these quite a bit actually. Right. Pop a couple here, tuck one in there, and one up here. I think I might need to do a couple more. Let's pop one in here and one up here. There we go. And there you have your card with those techniques. Now for the leaves, I forgot to say, I also did this technique as well and blended a little bit to get with granny apple green before I cut out, just to get that textured green as well before I did that. And I've just stamped inside with the frond. And then I've also done this one, which is that technique that I showed you at, also with the stamping on the background and then blending around the edges. And I don't know what's happened there. That's got some water or something on it. I'll have to do that again. It's all gone very blobby. And yes, so these are my two cards that I wanted to share with you using this beautiful, beautiful set. And I hope you give it a go, even if you use these techniques on another stamp set. I think they're just so versatile. And the Brayer, you can just add some beautiful, beautiful texture to the back of your cards and create a fantastic background. So thank you so much for watching and taking time out to share this with me. Please leave a comment or share with a friend if you think they'd be keen to see any of these techniques, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.